signage, interior, everything you can imagine. And I'm super excited because I'm going to the grand opening and I'm going to eat all the bread. So that's pretty much just an example of what we do. It's hard to explain to a lot of people what we do because it's really all over the board. We take your IRL in real life business and we move it URL a lot. But we actually help build those brands as well. So it is a challenge. My biggest challenge is that now that I've moved out of the DFW hub and the Houston hub, Texas in general, I'm in a new state and I have no network. I still get referrals from old clients and current clients, but you guys are my first networking group that I've joined, and I have to say I love this group because it is so very supportive and it's not just a pitch. It's more about how can we help one another.
I see you all here for Million Cups. If you're here for something else, you're in the wrong place. It's 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning, so it's time to check in. You can point your phone at that or at the piece of paper that's lying on the table there, and you can check in to show you we're at 1 million cups. If you do that on 3 occasions, you'll get a free pen. If you do that on 6 occasions, you'll get a free notebook. So, hey, you can't beat swag. Check in and win your chance to win free prizes. All right. We are 1 million cups Albuquerque, and this is our mission. Oh, wow, can you move that? Our mission is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for new and aspiring entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is a difficult and sometimes lonely journey, and we are here to take away the loneliness and to help you identify your unknown unknowns, things you don't know and you don't know you don't know. There's a lot of talent in this room and in this community, and you're only 1 or 2 connections away from getting what you need as an entrepreneur. Okay, and how do we do that? We work toward that mission through assistance from the Kauffman Foundation, which has set up a program to train organizers to create instances of 1 million cups, in 1 million cups chapters, as it were, all across the country. And every one of those communities has unique strengths and weaknesses, but they give us a consistent program for entrepreneurs, and they tell us how to train the presenters to give the 1 million cups presentation. So we are the only folks in New Mexico, but there were a bunch of other chapters in the Southwest. I've been to some of these. If you're on the road and it's Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., try stopping in. You'll see a familiar program. If you can't get enough 1 million cups, you can get on Zoom at 7 in the morning and go in New York. Have a cup of coffee, get here at 9, and you'll be good. You can do it twice in a day if you want. Okay, what are our key pillars? How do we make this whole thing work? These are presentations. They're not pitches. I'm not going to say that pitches are misleading exactly, but they highlight important things that that particular audience wants to hear, like how your company has all the talent it needs. It has an unassailable intellectual property moat, and it has bright prospects ahead of it if only they would inject capital. That's not really true of most companies at that stage, but that's the presentation that they make. If you're a struggling entrepreneur, what you really need to do is stand in front of a community that understands what you're going through and ask for help with the challenges that you currently have, and you'll get that help. So those are the presentations rather than the pitches. Those are authentic connections. So if somebody comes up to you and says, you know, a year ago, I was facing exactly what you're facing, and here's what I did about it, that's what we want to have happen here, not a speed dating thing where we all just pass out business cards. So it's run for the community, by the community. The organizers are not financially compensated, but I will speak for my own part. We receive rich rewards from our participation in this process, and it's actually helped my business personally. So I certainly recommend participation. We're radically and intentionally inclusive. All kinds of people, all kinds of businesses. You could have a brick and mortar shop that's a mom and pop operation. You could have a whiteboard company that maybe just got a little bit of funding with a comma in it, or you could be a tentpole company that honors us by their presence and doesn't need all that much from us, but is here to teach us things. Any one of those kind of companies is welcome, and everything in between. So don't be shy about helping other people out or presenting. So that's more of our mission statement. You're not alone in this community. You should reach out. And as part of this community, try to be friendly and helpful and educational. And if somebody says something that you have a strong disagreement with, you could either frame it in polite terms or keep it to yourself. There are times when you should take advantage of the opportunity to remain silent. Okay, and however, applying to present is not one of those opportunities. Really, this is your opportunity to speak out, to reach out to the community. Very easy to apply to present. Just go to one of the organizers and say, "Can you help me through your terrible website?" and we will. So what we will do is coach you on how to give a presentation that's not the usual pitch, that exposes your challenges and vulnerabilities and ends with a community ask. This is our team. I'm Paul Sutter. Lisa Atkins is right here. Eric Renz Whitmore may be lurking online. Adam is online, I guess, today. Sonia's online, and Keiko and Oscar, I guess they're documenting people's families right now, and they're not here right now. But so it's the two of us, but we can prop you up, folks. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Fat Pipe, for 8 years. This has been our home. Jason Collin Photography, always making us look good. Great headshots too, by the way. And if you're trying to sell a ranch, you know, that aerial drone footage is just in. Okay, More Than Organized. Oh, hey. Organizing your stuff, your mind, and providing us with creamer. Foundation for Sustainable Living, providing coffee. Noventum Custom Software, great software and donuts. And Vive Solutions when they're here. Today's not one of those days. Tea and fruit for those trying to get off the sugar and caffeine thing. Okay, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to hand it over to Lisa because she's the only other organizer.
Actually, Sonia, come on up. Sonia coached Amy. So we're going to let Sonia make an introduction. Amy,
all right. Well, good morning, everyone. And I am so glad that Amy is here and that she's presenting. And one of the things I would love you guys to think about as she's presenting is what is the best way we can connect her to the Albuquerque community and to her ideal audience, which you will find out more about as she presents.
Okay, all yours. All right. Thank you, Sonia, for the introduction. I truly appreciate it. And thank you guys here for being with me today and allowing me to present. So my name is Amy Ero. I am the co-founder and managing director of Pink Jacket. I recently moved here from Dallas in summer of 2022, and we bought a home in the mountains in December. So I have to tell you, I love New Mexico, and I just wish I'd have gotten here sooner. So I worked in corporate America. I'm sure as many of you have as well, for about 20 years. I was the advertising director, associate publisher, and digital advertising director for Voice Media. So if you've ever lived in LA, New York, Dallas, Houston, Minneapolis, the Houston Press, Dallas Observer, those were the two publications that I ran. I loved my job for many, many years until I didn't. So I don't know if you felt that way, if you've ever worked in corporate America, but that's what happened. I started my career in the .com industry. That was great, again, until it wasn't. That fell away, and then I went into media, and that's how I got the job with Voice Media Group. I purchased Pink Jacket in 2017 from dear friends of ours that lived in our neighborhood, Bill Breedlove and Elena Baca. I had gone to them for advice, much like I'm going to you today. That advice was, how do I get out of corporate America and have a company like Pink Jacket? Because it had such a great culture. It was a digital marketing agency, but design was the big part of it. And the answer was, we want to retire. Would you like to buy Pink Jacket? And the answer to that was, yes, I do. So Ryan Wilson, he's my technical director, and me, and who I do a lot of the marketing strategies and advertising, we bought it, and everything was going lovely. Southwest Airlines was one of our clients. Fogo de Chão was one of our clients. We had tons of restaurants, bars, nightclubs, music festivals, events. And we all know what happened with that when the pandemic hit. So that was super fun, not. And then what happened is we decided to kind of pivot and change our services. So that helped us stay alive. And we've been doing well since then. Thank everyone for that. So one of the things that we've really done is try to show that we can help all different kinds of companies. So this is one of our clients, the Monterey Jazz Festival. Anyone like jazz music in this audience? This is the longest continuously running jazz festival in the world. We were fortunate that we got this client when we did, because they are one of the only ones that kept us on through the pandemic. Yay to jazz. Okay, there we go. So we do all the design work. We rebuilt their website. This is a company that is very, very old, 66 years this year. So we actually helped them go online. We took their brand, which had almost never really been an online type of a awareness call, and we helped them actually take their business online. We're doing it again this year. It's the last weekend of September in Monterey. If anyone wants, I've got a promo code. I'll hook you up. But that is really kind of, you can kind of see we did all types of marketing, not just digital, but real life marketing as well. The other client we had is Toyota Music Factory. This one is a huge entertainment zone outside of Dallas. Live Nation is the music venue that anchors it. And the biggest issue was people in the area did not know that they also had multiple restaurants, different types of entertainment, those axe throwing places, had all kinds of stuff going on. And this little area here is an outdoor event, and we helped program that event and help them actually monetize it as well as advertise it. And it was very successful. And this is my new favorite client right now. It's two sisters. They left corporate America to follow their dream of making the world's best bagel, which is in desperate need in Dallas, Texas, because there are no decent bagels there, I can tell you that now. So we created their logo. This is an evil eye in the shape of a bagel, and these are the little sesame trees. This is the beta site. It's not live yet. They're opening next month. But we help them with everything related to that company, signage, interior, everything you can imagine. And I'm super excited because I'm going to the grand opening and I'm going to eat all the bread. So that's pretty much just an example of what we do. It's hard to explain to a lot of people what we do because it's really all over the board. We take your IRL in real life business and we move it URL online. But we actually help build those brands as well. So it is a challenge. My biggest challenge, speaking of challenges, is that now that I've moved out of the DFW hub and the Houston hub, and Texas in general, I'm in a new state and I have no network. I still get referrals from old clients and current clients, but you guys are my first networking group that I've joined, and I have to say I love this group because it is so very supportive, and it's not just a pitch. It's more about how can we help one another. So I do love that. The other problem is the technology gap. The one thing that I do not like about my industry is often we speak in jargon. And although some people understand it, for the majority of business owners, if I just throw out acronyms and talk about technology solutions, there's a glaze that happens. And I don't want to be that kind of company. We really want to be founded in realness and authenticity. But it is hard to explain to people why the internet is important to their business. If you can't understand that, it's a very difficult gap to come through. The other problem I have being here is that I'm used to being in a very large city, Houston, Dallas, Austin, Minneapolis, Denver. When I'm here, there are no larger clients like Bar Louie, who's one of my clients, or Fogo de Chão. They don't really have and I don't have the referral from those people because I'm not in those areas. So I'm just not aware if there are any larger businesses like that located in the immediate area. Obviously, the restaurant industry is a big part of what I do. I was part of the Greater Dallas Restaurant Association, the Greater Houston Restaurant Association. And now that I'm here, I don't know if there's a large restaurant network. Is there? Yep. See, look, she's right. So I guess that's really my biggest thing is that I just don't have the network. And so my question for you all is like, how can you help someone that has lived a life of lots and lots of brand people that was out and about all the time working with clients that is now just kind of stuck in the mountains and then so that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And just so you know, that is Tito from Tito's Vodka. For those of you who like Tito's Vodka, that is Tito.
Very good. Amy, I'll take your contact info and put it in the chat window for remote.
Thank you, Lisa.
Stay up here. We have questions.
My bad.
Come on up.
Hi, I'm Brian Steiner of Noventum Custom Software.
Hey, Brian, come over here on the thing.
Sure. So thanks for giving your talk. And I just looked real quick and it looks like the GDP of the Dallas-Fort Worth area is bigger than our entire state. And Texas is something like 10 to 20 times bigger than New Mexico in terms of GDP.
Of course.
So I would reconsider your ask. I would reframe your question a little bit. And like, I'm super plugged into the local community. I try to contribute. I'm always helping people out, talking with them. But our three biggest clients are out of state, right?
Okay.
And that's just the reality. You try to help people grow. You try to help companies grow. Maybe some of those seeds will germinate in a few years. But compared to what you're used to, I'm not sure if that would be my focus. I think you might need to take trips to those places maybe a couple of times a year
I do.
to cultivate those relationships and try and do what you're doing. But until the whole state rises up, I think it's going to be difficult to make those comparisons directly.
Thank you so much. That's actually perfect advice. Thank you.
Anybody online have questions? Just post in chat and I'll call on you. Sonia, you can help me with that.
Okay.
Miriam Montezupino with More Than Organized. Similar to what Brian said, we just don't have those size companies here. And so the closest way to get there would be through the Chamber of Commerce or the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, I think, to start networking with the larger companies. A lot of the networking groups in town are very focused on the small to medium-sized businesses because there's only a handful of large. But that would be my recommendation.
Well, thank you. So the Chamber of Commerce, just the with Greater
Albuquerque,
Albuquerque.
yeah.
Okay.
They have issues like all the chambers.
Everyone has
but-
issues.
Also, I love your concept of in real life to URL.
Thank you so much,
Perfect.
Miriam. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Hi, Athena Christodoulou. We actually met online a few weeks
I
ago.
remember.
I've got you in my notes. I would suggest, or I'm thinking that maybe you should get involved in the New Mexico Economic Development Department
Okay.
because they have identified 9 areas that need developed in New Mexico, and New Mexico has a very bad habit of underselling itself. And so we could use some help with that.
I would absolutely love to work with the EDC. I've worked with one many, many years ago. So I actually have a little bit of knowledge about the tax space from which they come and how it works. So thank you so much. That's wonderful advice. And I'm absolutely going to look into it.
Okay, I can put you in touch.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Any questions online? So Amy, I do know the woman who runs the New Mexico restaurant. Come over here so they can see you online.
Actually,
Association.
Phil, oh, sorry, Phil does have something if you want to call him.
Awesome. I'll call on him in just a second. So I can make an introduction.
I would love that. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Lisa.
Phil, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, so I was listening to you and you bought this company and then COVID hit you and you had to pivot. And so you pivoted and you redesigned some people's online experiences. And so the question that I was formulating in my head was, how did you do that? What are the things that you've done for other people that you haven't done for yourself? Right? And
That's a great question, Phil. You know, pardon me.
go on.
I was gonna say that the biggest one is an example I gave, which was the Monterey Jazz Festival. When pandemic hit, obviously no one's having festivals. So we took their festival online and we did a live stream on YouTube. And then we actually did 3 days of the festival via YouTube. We grew their YouTube from about 6,000 subscribers to almost 11,000 subscribers. And that's really a big part of how they stayed alive during that time. For us, we don't really have content that allows us to do too much of that type of live stream. However, we did revamp our website a bit, and we have content on the site that we create every single month, 2 to 3 pieces. The other thing we did that helped us was we offered more services. So rather than just focusing on these industries that were closed down for a year and a half or more, we actually helped people create a file protocol, how to go online and conduct their business online. We had an office in Dallas in a really cool space, much like this, honestly. And we closed that office down, not only to save money, but because we had to. Everyone went online. So we taught other companies how to do that as well.
Right, so you're still telling me what you did your presentation is, you're still telling me how you're helping everybody else. But you've got all of this knowledge, all right, that you've actually physically done and promoted other companies. And how much of that are you actually applying to yourself? So I would argue that you should sit down and you should write down all the things that you would write down about your clients that you want to know and what they do and how they do it and where their markets are and how they approach them, and apply that to yourself. All right.
Yes.
Then you can and then you can build as great a presence for you on social media as you've done for other people. And I also concur with Brian's comments and with sorry, name's just going out of my head. The Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, Chamber of Commerce, the economic development. You know, I was in New Mexico for quite some years, and I moved to New York, but I still like to join in these. And I'm in with the Chamber of Commerce and the economic developments. And having done that, I've had a lot more open up to me since I moved here in the past year. And I think I had to think about what I was doing with my customers, and I made their life simple by going through strategic change. And you need to do the same for you. I had to do it for me. What am I doing for people? How do I make it easy? What value do I have? And then you get ideas of, then you will formulate ideas in your head of how you're going to be able to present to the local market and beyond that out of New Mexico State.
Yeah, Phil, I love that because I actually call it eating your own dog food. And we had a meeting about eating our own dog food, and we did run Facebook ads that we do for other, we did all the things for ourselves that we did for other clients, and we actually did get some leads from it. So I do appreciate that. And if you want, you can just ask somebody next time, did you eat your own dog food?
If you want some more help and guidance, then we'll connect afterwards.
Thank you so much.
Right, but don't get too far, you're off screen, so come this way a little.
No, you come on screen.
No,
Yeah.
you want to-
Come on screen
Okay,
together.
sounds good. So I'm Barbara Dawson with Purple Mulch. I'm glad you love our state, and I'm glad you wish you had moved here sooner. So the question that I have for you is, you've got all these contacts out in the world, in the big cities. But what do you know about about New Mexico that is uniquely Mexico?
Well, I don't know nearly enough, I can tell you that, but I have read I'm quite a voracious reader, so I've read a few things. The one thing I absolutely think that people don't understand about the state is the incredible beauty that you can't really tell someone about until they see it.
Right.
The other thing I think that's really unique is the culture. You know, you have the Mexican culture, but then you have the indigenous people's cultures. And that is so incredibly, to me, what makes the state so great. So there's a few things I know, but I'm always willing to learn more.
Do you know our main sources of income in the state?
I have looked at a few, yes. Yeah, but I mean, it's some of the industry for me, in terms of that is just, it's harder to figure out how I could help.
And I guess because you're here, I would encourage you to also look at what is unique about New Mexico that you could wrap your head around and make a difference in, so that we could build our economic base, so that we could get more tourists in town, you know, the balloon fiesta, I don't know if everybody else is doing this, but it seems like we have lots of breweries showing up here.
So many.
And I'm going, is there a brewery association? The Bosque, is there, yeah, Bosque Brewery?
So
out
there you go, brewery association. I work with brands, so that
Obviously
makes sense.
Cannabis, you should get.
I
involved.
have experience with, we call it MMJ in the advertising world because cannabis is still some places considered a bad content, but I have worked with the MMJ industry. So yes, those two industries would be, I don't know why I didn't think of that. Thank you so much.
I look at Bosque Brewing in Bernalillo, which is where they make all the beer, but I think they have 6 locations around the area.
Yeah, Santa Fe Brewery and Rio
Yeah.
Bravo. And
There's 38 of them.
38. Wow, I haven't been to that many yet, but I've tried several.
So for what that's worth, you know, just don't only look outside, but look inside.
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Consumption licenses for the cannabis companies are increasing, so you're gonna see a lot of combined, you know, buy your product here, but also come and consume it, and that
Okay.
might be a market for you.
Thank you so much. That's lovely advice.
Alan, you had a comment real quick online?
Yeah, please indulge me for a moment, just thinking out loud. Phil Wilton recommended a book to me called Seeing Around Corners, and I found it very enlightening. It relates to seeing those pivot points kind of in advance. And borrowing from what Brian said, and again, I'm just thinking out loud, but you might just take some time to do research to see if you can find those emerging companies that might become a big company. And I'm borrowing back from when I was running a law firm, we set up some pricing that allowed us to indulge ourselves in things we wanted to do. So we covered our costs, but it was kind of a future investment and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't work out. But you allocate a very specific percentage of your efforts to those kinds of engagements. So in recognizing that maybe 1 out of 5 will hit, and you price it so that you can afford to have 4 that don't hit, but when the one hits, it hits big, and you're on the ground floor. But if you haven't read that book, I would recommend you read that book. Phil, I've given it away, so I don't have it anymore. Phil's a great resource, by the way. And
Thank you. I love a good book recommendation. I'll get it the minute we leave here. And if Phil recommends it, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So I'm 100% going to check that out. Thank you so much.
But it sounds like you have a great foundation, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Alan.
All right, we'll do one more question because we have a second presenter today. Come on up.
You said something really eloquent that made me jump up. And you said it was about like that you can't experience New Mexico by looking at some pictures and reading some things. And then you also said earlier that you want to get away from jargon and you want to have people understand what you do.
Yes.
If you'd applied that same statement to your business, I would think that you'd see the same thing. It'd be like describing New Mexico by explaining that snapdragons are penstemons, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like telling somebody about search engine optimization.
Right.
I wonder if there's something that you can do that would let people experience, right, the difference that you bring. If there's some way of, I don't know how to do it, but like to say, here's what it's like when you try to find a business that doesn't show up on Google. Here's what it's like when you show up to a business that you can't figure out hide their hair where the damn restaurant is or when it's open.
Well, I feel like you just maybe were spying on us on our last conference call with my staff, because we talked about creating video content that does that very, very thing. Years ago, we did they call it an explainer video, and we did one to restaurants. Literally, what you just said, when you can't find, what happens when you can't find the restaurant? And we explained all those little pieces in 30 seconds. But everything you're just talking about, we are talking about actually creating content, video content with that very thing. So thank you.
And maybe the
I
stuff
mean,
that
did
you
you
go
want to
in.
come work for me?
No, but maybe that experiential stuff and the stuff that you go in with your clients with, maybe it's a website, you know, iPad or an iPhone, you say, look,
Watch this and
this
Yeah.
person's out and they're trying to do this. Let's experience you. Let's experience these other clients.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Love that.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Wait, Amy, 2 more questions.
Oh, I have more questions.
I know you're new to New Mexico.
I am.
Hopefully you know.
I know about this. I do.
Red or green?
Christmas.
Yay.
But I do have to say I have to have it on the side.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you know,
Still getting used to the heat.
yeah, lots of the, antacid pills in my purse right now, actually.
That's cute. And what's the one thing this community can do for you?
You know, the one thing I've noticed, all of you have such great recommendations and are so helpful. Anybody that can give me those introductions, whether it's via email or a cup of coffee, or you want me to buy you lunch or whatever it may be, I'm more than happy to accept that, your help. Those introductions mean the world. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy.
And wow, how do you wrap this up? Okay, in the past week, there was a big event by not exactly a startup called SpaceX. And they tried a launch configuration that they never tried before. They were not afraid to fail fast and fail forward, and 4 minutes into flight, they had some polite language for what happened, like rapid, unplanned disassembly. But okay, it blew up, right? But it flew for 4 minutes, guys. There was nobody on board, nobody hurt. That's what you should do. Fail fast, fail forward, be bold, and don't apologize. I'll see you next week. Lift up entrepreneurship.